Hello there. That Starmer speech today may have sounded like a dull and lacklustre campaign speech, but it should worry us all. That speech, all about a financial black hole and a societal black hole. With the most concerning thing being the constant warnings made about a painful budget on the 30th of October, where difficult decisions will be made, where we would have to feel short-term pain for long-term gain. While Keir Starmer and his team fixed the foundations of the nation, as he called it. But for the ordinary Brit, I do not think the pain will be short-term. Nor do I think Starmer has any plans for ordinary Brits to feel any gain from that pain anytime soon. Especially if you're on the populist side of the argument. He dropped enough hints in his speech about that coming after the populists. One section of society will end up feeling the pain, others will get the gain. The pensioners now understand that, and the rest of us will too very soon. And Starmer says it's all due to the 22 billion quid black hole he and his Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, only found when they stumbled into Downing Street. Funny how they so quickly found the money for all those union pay rises though, isn't it? Although there is a letter circulating on Twitter showing that they should have known about that black hole. But although it looks true, I don't know if it is genuine. Has Starmer been telling us pork is about that black hole? But I have to ask, what pain will we feel after the budget? After all, he's made promises about not increasing taxes for the workers, hasn't he? So if he follows his union paymasters, who by the way are the new wealthy, and if Starmer follows their orders and hits the rich, why is he warning the rest of us paupers about the upcoming pain? Because he knows that all actions to raise taxes, any taxes, even those targeting the super wealthy, will have repercussions in the form of reduced recruitment, layoffs, and higher prices for everyone. And I do wonder if we'll be seeing rises in costs for motorists, for example, more fuel duty, the rollout of national pay per mile maybe. We might even see the public sector get hit, you know, like the armed forces. And Starmer had the cheek to say his government's priority will be to promote growth. He actually said the words wealth creation. Yes, really. But creation of wealth for who and how? Wealth for the individual, or to fill the coffers of the state so that we can all be wealthy by proxy? And I think I know the answer to that one, given he's starting a national wealth fund. So where is this growth going to come from? And is it just growth in the size of the state he's on about? Does he see that as a wealth creation scheme? He did say he wants to see work pay. But don't his already laid out plans make it less advantageous to hire people in the first place? Well, as far as I could see, apart from leaving the poorest pensioners out in the cold, he's gone for that perennial favourite of all failed politicians, that of house building to drive growth. 1.5 million new homes in 5 years, with prices kept buoyant, no doubt, by keeping the borders wide open to all newcomers. And the other thing he kept harping on about was his victory over the far-right rioters. Sounds like he's located his favourite tool of oppression, doesn't it? Because he keeps on reminding us about the repercussions of wrong tweet. And he said that he had travelled to the riot hotspots to personally shake the hands of the first responders. So I do wonder when he'll be travelling to Notting Hill to publicly thank those first responders, After all, there were 8 stabbings, an acid attack, and lots of guns and knives located, as well as rife drug crime and loads of first responding police officers, 50 of them being assaulted. Or would a visit like that open up a right old can of worms? And funny old thing, just about no one on the woke left has breathed a word about these horrific events at Notting Hill. And Starmer didn't mention the rubber boats either, until a member of the press levered it out of him after the speech. He didn't even mention the word immigration, nor, strangely, the word diversity. And then we get to energy policy. Homegrown green energy will save the day, he said. It will make us less reliant on despotic regimes. But what green energy? All I've seen so far is plans for huge amounts of windmills and solar panels. That's the intermittent energy provided, but where's the stable energy supplies to come from if we're to get rid of oil, gas and coal by, 2030? Magic? Or the use of AI that Starmer said he wanted to see? The truth is we will still be importing loads of expensive liquefied natural gas from tyrants around the globe and then pretending we're green. I foresee a moving of money and investment out of the UK, and a lot of wealth creators and budding wealth creators too. I see the tax take from the upper echelons of the wealthy starting to dry up, moving the tax targeting to those lower down the food chain. I also see a new land value tax designed to hit anyone with a too large house, for example. And I see many people sitting back idly and awaiting their wealth redistribution windfall once the rich have been squeezed dry. But they will be disappointed when it is all just diverted into the new National Wealth Fund. And the money in that fund will no doubt be controlled by a newly appointed quango, under strict instructions to funnel the dosh into deserving diverse areas, with diversity-driven problems caused by white privilege, no doubt. Oh yes, we have pain coming and lots of it, but that pain will be a permanent feature of our lives under Labour, and none of the gain will be felt by the likes of you and me. No, we all know where the proceeds of all the extra taxes collected, as well as the new houses, will be going, don't we? And stand by for ultra-swift court action and a lengthy jail term if you even hint at criticising the new Labour nirvana. So what do you out there think about Keir Starmer's speech? It's too scary to even think of what to say. Yeah, it is. Having looked at all this, I'm just getting very, very frightened and angry about what's going on. It seems that he's going to be targeting a certain section of society to pay for everything else, and then targeting them with lawfare and legal action should they even criticise it. That's where we're going. My native island is even worse. Yes, I can believe that. But we're catching up. We're doing our best to catch up with you, you know. We are shutting our steel fabrication company down as no work. Oh, that surprises me. But there is no steel being made here anyway, so it'll all be coming through from China. Everything will be made there and brought over here at great expense to carbon and all the rest of it. And then we'll turn around and say how green we are because we haven't got any steel making plants. We have got steel recycling plants, but nothing or hardly any capacity now to make virgin steel. That's from scratch using coal, iron ore and oxygen. Yeah, there's a good one. I get Ingsoc vibes from Starmer, English socialism. Yes, it is definitely along those lines, isn't it? And he's saying all the right sort of words that evoke the woke side, but he's not on our side. That's definitely for sure. Starmer is corrupt. Ooh, that'll get you in trouble. That'll get us all in trouble now. I've put that one up. We'll have to be sent to the retraining camps and repeat after me. Starmer is not corrupt. He is wonderful. That's where we're going. Did you know, I absolutely think that remember the clapping we did for the NHS, or were meant to do, the NHS, 6 o'clock in the evening on Thursdays, all the happy clapping and cheering for the NHS? That's the beginning of a sort of the socialist way, you know, where they get them out and they have to do their exercises in public and sing the praises of the regime. And that was just a way, just to see, it was an experiment, just to see if we'd do it. I didn't do it ever, but lots of people did. Yes, a nightly clap for Starmer. Yes, every evening, 6 o'clock, out on the porch, come rain or shine. Starmer needs a stint in the salt mines. Well, I think he's the one who's going to be handing out the sentences, him and his crony courts and all the rest of it. But the police have got to come round and arrest you first. Now, today the story is that the police will let you off as long as you apologise for your crime. So did you send that tweet? Yes, but I'm so sorry. That doesn't cut ice with the police. You'll be in prison. You can only apologise for things like, you know, GBH and other minor things like burglary, robbery, you know, using menaces to get money, anything like that. You can apologise for it, because when someone says they're sorry for it, you can tell they are. But anyone who tweets out and says, oh, I'm sorry about that, oh no, we know you're lying. Chain gangs incoming. Well, yes. We were going to have that. Do you remember that? Under Boris Johnson, he was talking about bringing chain gangs back. Not sure whether they did, you know, for the ASBO types and get them in chains and cleaning the streets up and all that sort of idea. I don't think they were really chain gangs, but they were going to do that sort of thing. I'm not sure whether it actually happened. The plans were there, but I see no evidence of it. This is very worrying now. Can you think of a time in recent history when there was so much anxiety about where we are headed? Well, I can't. I just cannot myself ever think back when things were so dire, so difficult. Back in the 70s, you know, the winter of discontent times and all that sort of thing. I lived through that. I was very young, but it would never seemed. You see, back then you still trusted your government and the government machine to be looking after you. And this is the crux of the matter for me. Back then, you never really got the idea that the government would ever do something actively against you. Either they were much cleverer at hiding it, or the press was cleverer at hiding it, or it wasn't happening. I don't know. You can make your own mind up about that. But right now, I think it's much, much worse than that. We're actually scared of talking. And that's really bad news. It really is. So, yeah, it is worse. Yeah, when did we ever fear the state like we do now? Really? I mean, a lot of people are frightened of the state. They won't go on Facebook or Twitter anymore, and they couch their words. They're very careful. So, thank you for Keir's 10 for your contribution. Oh, thanks for that comment. Yes, I do my best to stay alive to everything, and I take my hat off to all the other creators out there, the other YouTubers and Twitterers doing the same sort of thing. Some go much closer to the knuckle than I do. I feel a bit uncomfortable. They go a lot further, but I think they may be putting themselves in danger. And there's one thing that I've learnt: you never ever get yourself cancelled and thrown off for something small. You know, a misword here or a misword there. make sure you stay within the realms, but put the message across hard. But I really take my hat off to these people, and they're showing the way. I'm just hanging on the coattails of some of them. Somebody will be walking the plank. Yes. Yeah, well, you can only wish, can't you? I don't know who, though. And why would they walk the plank? Don't want to incite violence now, do we? Are the police coming to the US? They will have a heyday. I don't know. We're talking about the UK trying to get over there to arrest people for what they say over there about things that happen over here. There's still that case in Pakistan, isn't there, where that guy got arrested for misinformation over Southport. But I don't know. I think, to be honest, I think the establishments around the world in the Western sort of the Western world anyway are all going in lockstep. They're all doing the same sorts of things. They've all got the same aim. The only trouble is we're paying for it and they haven't told us what it is. Oh, Independent Puppy, thank you very much for your contribution. Yes, we have to watch everything we say now and keep safe, folks. Yes, good advice. I know where we're heading. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just now, the present. Yeah, but I think it's where we're going. I'm not quite sure what that point is. It's just now is bad, and it's going to get worse, I think. It has to get worse for the establishment to achieve what they need to achieve. And it's not for our benefit. None of it's for our benefit. We just pay and vote for them. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I think they do want us, divide and conquer, put us into disarray. And then, once we're conquered, they can just bring in a central bank, digital currency and all the other things, and the social credit score. That's all being worked on behind the scenes. They've even, a couple of years ago I mentioned in a video about a credit card company who's already dealing with or designing a card for the carbon credit and the social credit scores. It's all coming. It's just delayed a bit. I think we've caught on a bit and they're a bit worried, and they're trying to double down on the school teaching, school indoctrination and all the rest of it to put that in place, and then they'll pick up speed again. But those are the aims. Someone's put up one that's just gone past me. Join Dad's army. Yep, let's all join Dad's army. Trouble is, though, that unless it's official, if you join an army, then you are part of a militia, which is outlawed in Britain, unless it's official. Unless, of course, it's something organised by another group, but they can organise what they like. Oh, thank you to Not Doubting Thomas for your contribution. Thank you very much. God save the UK, yes. Any very well-off YouTubers will probably get away with saying more. They need their taxes. I'm not so sure about that. I don't think they do need our taxes. They could just print the ruddy stuff if they wanted to, couldn't they? Which is what they're doing anyway. We still haven't paid off all that quantitative easing stuff from the 2008 credit crunch. That's still outstanding, and that was all printed money. They could just do that again if they wanted to, centrally. And then if they bring in the central bank digital currency, then they've got total control of us anyway. Everything you buy will have to be taxed, and it will be done automatically. And it won't matter how rich or poor you are, you still have to go through that system. The only thing that would happen is if a few wealthy YouTubers stopped operating, it wouldn't matter because other people would come along and take their place. Love the back curtain. Very V for Vendetta. You just need the mask. Yes, this is an AI mask anyway. No. Yeah, this was Richard's idea, this red curtain, way back in the day. And he said, we've got to be like V for Vendetta because that's where we're going. And I thought, oh, thanks for that. So it was designed in that manner in the first place. And that's why we use it. In fact, when I did start, it's just a little story. When I did start, I got bored with the red curtain, so I changed it for a purple one, a very plush purple one. The rollicking I got from the viewers was unbelievable. And then another time I was so angry I forgot to say hello there at the beginning. Yet another rollicking. So I didn't change anything. If I change anything, I'll get a rollicking from you, the viewers. Yes, this is a good call. Mr. Starmer, condemn the Rotting Hill mayhem. Yeah, let's call it that. Yes, he needs to. He needs to condemn it. They all need to condemn it. And the one that really should condemn it, well, there's two of them, is Sadiq Khan and that rowdy character in charge of these police. They need to be doing that. They need to be condemning it outright. And they need to be threatening to shut it down unless it's all sorted out next time. They need proper control. The crowd control, I saw it on the videos, it must have been absolutely cloying in there and horrible and positively dangerous. That people didn't go spilling over some of those railings and impaling themselves on them, I'll never know. And all that wood that had to be put up so that people could protect their houses, and they all went. Most of them left for that period knowing it was going to be awful. I don't know why they don't just sell up. When will you be eating the bugs? Never. That's the short answer. Although, as I understand it, we already have got certain ingredients of foods that are made by bugs being gradually put into the food chain. And it's all being approved quietly. So it's worth keeping a look on that one, because you'll end up eating, well, maybe we already are eating grasshopper bread. That was marketed a year ago. I don't know if they're still selling it. But yeah, the big one is the fake meat companies are disappearing though, aren't they? They're having a bit of a problem selling their wares to people like me who like their proper beef. French resistance, be anonymous. Very hard for people like me. No way can I be anonymous. Well, I'm not sure about that one, whether he did or not sell his soul to the devil. But yes, it's the sort of path we're going down, though, as far as I'm concerned. Who on earth voted for this Labour government? Yes, good question. Turns out about 20% of the voting population, and that's about it. Most of the people stayed away and didn't vote at all. And it's just ridiculous that a party like, say, Reform UK gets all those votes and just 5 seats. That's all they got. And whereas the SNP and the Lib Dems, who got far fewer votes, got a lot more MPs. You know, we're well up for proportional representation, as long as it's proportional representation of the right sort. Now, this is get your kids out of schools. This is what worries me. I did a video earlier on it. It really worries me that they're now talking about walking back on all that free speech stuff that the Tories put in place to make sure that the universities had proper free expression for students and for staff. That's been trodden on by this current government, even though it was brought in by a legitimately elected government. They've said, no, we're changing that, that's gone. So it hasn't even come into force. Those laws hadn't even come into force when they were stopped. And now we hear that teachers are going to be taught by other teachers to be anti-racist. And it's all going to be about white privilege and stamping out white privilege and stamping out the thought that that there's some sort of white supremacy or whatever it is they're on about. Yeah. Yeah, when the actual fact, of course, is that we're all equal and they should treat us all equally. All of us. But I don't see that happening at all. Oh yeah, someone's put up a comment, crickets in pasture and flower here, but I missed where that was. But I think that's where we're going. They can just bring it in slowly, and then in the end, you'll be told one day everything you're eating is insect. Did you know? What? Yeah, Soylent Green. I will eat nuts and cashews, not bugs. Yeah, nuts and cashews. I thought cashews were nuts. Are they? I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. Blair sold his soul to the Catholic devil. Well, yeah. Yes. Well, he got up to some stuff, didn't he? Well, the only good thing about Starmer is he is upsetting so many people now. They're getting adherent. Well, yeah, sorry. I get the jest. We're not very much in favour of him, and we're finding out what he and his party are really like. Yeah, so he is upsetting a lot of people, and I think he's upsetting a lot of people in his own party as well, especially over that pensioner thing with the heating allowance. I think he's upset a lot of people there. But he will keep his iron rod on them as well. You watch. He'll be controlling them as well. And to think that MPs are meant to look after their constituents, aren't they? But do they? Especially their elderly ones? Yeah, and he won't want to let go of power, that's for sure. Indoctrination centres. Yes. We must all be educated. Properly educated. So what will happen when that knock on the door comes? You said something wrong. That's where we're going. It's happening already right around us. It was going on last year and the year before. Do you remember? Was it Harry Miller, the ex-former policeman, who actually had a policeman phone him up and say, I need to check your thinking? And when Harry Miller said, what, are you the thought police? He didn't understand what he was on about. Yeah. The game was rigged from the start. Well, it normally always is, isn't it? Because whenever you have an election, you always vote in the government. And that's how it works. And the government is not those MPs. That's Parliament. We've changed, 300-400 of them in one election? But it's still Whitehall, all those civil servants. The House of Lords hasn't changed, nor the civil servants. They haven't changed. Their aims are still exactly the same as they were. And somehow the government or the MPs have to try and work their way through that. But when you've got a two-party system where the two parties are exactly the same and pushing the same agenda, and it's the same agenda as Whitehall and the House of Lords, then we haven't got that much of a chance, have we? We do need to change this system. Not sure how yet, though. Good luck, Britain. Thank you very, very much for that. We need all the luck we can get, and I think most countries around the world at the moment do as well. I agree about voting being BS, although I did vote Reform. Well, yeah, the whole point is that loads of people voted for Reform UK, and their vote was heavy in some areas but very light in others, and that's the problem. You've got to get a certain percentage of the vote to break through that, to have a sort of enough votes across the country to pick up lots of seats, and that's one of the problems with first past the post. Teach your kids at home if you can. It's not as difficult as you think. Well, yeah, it depends on your job, I suppose. For so many people now, that both parents have to go to work to put a roof over their head, pay the bills. So the government is in a fantastically strong position. They can make sure that you get just enough childcare paid for by the taxpayer. The taxpayer is still picking up the bill. That's still the same people that are working, picking up the bill for other people to look after their own children. It's a bit roundabout, really, isn't it? Right. I'm going to have to go in a minute. Simmering to boiling point. Yes, I think a lot of people are simmering to boiling point, but don't let it boil over. Oh, and I will just point out that on the 7th of September, that's Saturday, there is a pro-Palestine march in London ending up at the Israeli embassy. I would not advise being anywhere near that, anywhere near it. If anyone who is pro-UK turned up, and they even lifted a little flag up, they will be stamped on for trying to start a riot. Do not go. Do not counter-protest. Let them get on with it. Okay, that's my fervent advice. There's no point in trying to counter-protest that one. Yeah. Yeah, all because the establishment wants to stamp on us. And anyone who goes over there and starts being patriotic and all the rest of it, they will be the ones stamped on, because they will be seen as disrupting the peace, breaching the peace. And the police arrest people for that. Anyway, David Johnson, I haven't got another 5 years, nor have many of us, not of my patience and my blood pressure with this lot. Yes, you have to stay positive and happy. When I finish these videos, I normally go and watch an old video, an old film or something, just to sort of ease off and have a beer, because I do need to de-stress at the end of the day. So anyway, thanks very much for listening to me rant on about this, and I hope you'll feel a bit happier and you can go away and think about the future and look positively on the future. But because we know what the enemy is, and we've identified the enemy, know what they're doing, we just need to engage in the long battle against it, and that is what it is, a long battle. We have got a lot to go through first. Anyway, have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.